For today's episode, we have a special guest, and that is...
The name's Husker. I am the owner and creator of the character conveniently named Husker, and in today's episode, I will be talking about his character in the mod for Seer's sibling in Winds of Change. Born in Balteus in a distant village, Husker was the son of a former Triumvirate general. When the Triumvirate ordered the occupation in Mazeo, Husker's father, Dallas, refused to follow their orders and decided to make a break from them. Along with half of the village, they all sailed away towards Alarinthia. Unfortunately, this hasty move was poorly timed. A storm had approached and took out the boat and everyone on it. A few made it to shore, most importantly Husker, his father, and his childhood friends Mercedes and Albert. Husker grew up in a treacherous environment in Alarinthia, and in order to protect him, Dallas taught him his sword fighting technique from his days as the Triumvirate's general. Eventually, Albert and Mercedes learned to fight alongside him as well. Alongside training as a swordsman, Husker had also been practicing his stealth skills when he navigated throughout Alarinthia, stealing from food carts in order to provide for him and his father. Once the three had reached the age of 18, they had formed their own group together and worked as assassins. They had their own morals and only sought out to assassinate bad people in their eyes. After half a year had gone by, they eventually garnered the attention of Draco. Draco and Husker soon had a meeting to conduct a contract. There was a man who had made the life on Draco, and Draco wanted him dead. The contract was soon accepted, and the group began to hunt down the man for a few days. Soon, they had the target cornered. However, he began to confess why he attempted to kill Draco. He had lost his husband at the hand of Draco's guards in the palace over a minor incident. While he didn't speak much about the incident, he blamed Draco for having such ruthless guards and he protested, only to be embarrassed and kicked out of the palace. Albert and Mercedes felt sympathy. They couldn't really blame him for what he had done, as he was just a grieving man who lost it all. However, Husker didn't feel anything. They did try to convince him that he wasn't a bad person. He was just dealing with a lot of pain and couldn't think straight. Husker didn't care. He executed the target. Mercedes was in shock, and Albert was livid. He challenged Husker's character and got in his face, which led to an altercation. They started the fight, and Mercedes tried to break it up. It got really heated, and Albert eventually drew his weapon, which led to Husker doing the same. And Husker ended up getting the better of Albert. Mercedes, upset and angry, decided to fight Husker, and unfortunately she fell too. Husker couldn't believe it. Like the target they sought out to kill, he was enraged and lost himself as well. He buried both Albert and Mercedes in the sand while he grieved. The next day, he reported his success to Draco, but announced that the group was permanently disbanded. He took his reward and decided to leave Alarinthia, disturbed by recent events. He bid his father farewell, and on his way to the docks, he came across a man named Ed. Ed had just walked out of the Coliseum, battered and bruised after a tough tournament. Just by observing Ed, Husker knew that this life probably didn't best suit him, and decided to do something about it. Husker persuaded Ed to leave Alarinthia, convincing him that a life like this in constant battle was not going to suit him well for his future, and told him to forge his own path in another place elsewhere. The two eventually reached the docks and hired a boat to set off for Mazeo. Husker would work as a soul act for a few months in Mazeo, before he eventually joined the rebellion full-time in the hopes to battle against the Triumvirate. Nowadays, Husker's formed a new trio. Working alongside with Bazia, and going back into contact with Ed, they are now a trio of mercs that operate in Mazeo. And with that, I will now be bowing out and letting Tonash take the stage.
Thank you, Husker. And also he'll be voice acting him in my mod. Husker's main weapons are a Wodao sword and a katana that will either look like Shiraba, Angel Slayer or Mabdaki from the Bayonetta franchise, or it will be a cool-looking dagger. The next video will be about the Triumvirate cult following, which consists of Alexander, Gabriella, and Michael, not their canon names because they don't have any. So, we will see all of you next time.